Let's talk about this. Why is it that you've done the exercises, you've done the mama mums, you've done the nay nay nays, but when it comes to hitting that record button and singing an actual song, you still don't sound good? But let's talk about why this is happening. I'll share some of the misconceptions and maybe the mistakes I see, and stay right to the end because I'll share a very, very simple action you can take to start getting you to sound great in songs. Let's go. So reason number one, songs are inherently harder than exercises. There seems to be this misconception that, once I can hit a note in a scale, I can sing this in a song. And whilst there's a lot of things that exercises can teach us, singing a song is that final gap. And often it is going to be more challenging because you have to think about lyrics, you have to remember the timing, you have to remember the melody, you have to remember all these different things and do them at the same time as getting your technique on point. And so singing songs is going to be more challenging, but it is a challenge that's well worth taking. Now, for example, I've been able to hit the high C's or the high B flats for a long, long time now. And the thing that was really interesting is it actually took me some time before I was actually able to apply it into a song and apply it consistently. And so there was this bit of time like between when I was able to do it in an exercise and then also when I was able to do it in a song. Here are some actions you can take to make it easier. Now, number one, make sure you actually go and sing songs. I find that for a lot of people, especially those of us who are learning how to sing, sometimes we obsess over vocal exercises and we do them again and again and again. But don't forget that last step, right, of applying some of the things that you've learned or even just trying it in a song. You're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to crack, but that is the learning process. Now, the second part of it is from an exercise lens, try to vary up how you're getting to that note. For example, say if I can get to this note, ma, 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 I can get to that A, right? I don't want to just be doing this again and again and again. Why not try hit it from top down? Ma, 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 ma. By nature of you trying to figure out how to hit those notes from different angles, maybe from bottom up, maybe holding out the note, maybe attacking from top down, all of this is going to force you to get more familiar with that note. And it's going to make your chances of applying it to a song much, much easier. So the second action you can take here is vary up how you hit that note. Now, real quick team, for those of you who are checking out this show for the very, very first time, my name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who works with students from all around the world over Zoom. And on this channel, on this show, my goal is to make learning how to sing as simple and as easy as possible. Because let's face it, learning how to sing can feel confusing. There's a lot of information out there. So I want to break this down for you and make it as simple. And so if this is up your lane, make sure to subscribe or follow wherever you're listening or watching this from and hit that bell notification so you can get access to our episodes every Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're joining me from. Also check out some of the links in the description on how you can work with me privately or enroll in one of my step-by-step programs. All the links is in the description. Reason number two, you know how to do the exercises, but you don't know the reason behind it, or you don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. I've mentioned this a few times on this podcast. The challenge I see for a lot of people working on their voice is they take the exercise at face value, which means, okay, I have to do a mum, 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 mum. And there's no real thought or awareness on, why we have to do this exercise or some of the sensations or coordinations we are trying to build. And this is really, really important, right? Because frankly, you could do any exercise. It doesn't even have to be a mum's, it could be anything. But if you know what you're aiming for, if you know why the exercise is helping you and what it's actually doing to your voice, it becomes a much deeper form of practice. And this is something I share with my students all the time. Often when we're doing a scale, I would always ask them, what did you feel? What did you notice, right? How does that feel different to the one before? And that constant awareness or that constant building of awareness is what helps you build your voice. Now, of course, the pure repetition sometimes of doing the exercises can get you to the right place. But I think when you combine it with additional awareness, when you combine it with deliberate practice, you improve even faster. So a little action for you is try this in your next practice session. Rather than just going, I have to do the mums, I have to do the nays, I have to do these 5-tone scales. Why not think about it this way? What am I doing in this scale that makes it feel easy? What sensations am I noticing? What coordinations am I doing? What am I doing with my mouth, right? All of those will become cues on how you become a better singer because that is going to be easier to translate into a song. That feeling of singing on a bit of pressure, that feeling of getting your chords closed, that feeling of letting the resonance do a certain thing, that's going to be much easier to translate than going mum, 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 mum. Now, reason number three, and I'm going to call you out on this at the moment. You are impatient. And I am guilty of this myself. A lot of us are guilty of being impatient. But here is the reality. No matter how great of a workout you're doing, maybe you really push your body to the limits, you've done it with perfect technique, you've done the perfect amount of reps, no matter how perfect that workout is, you don't suddenly get ripped. You don't suddenly get ripped. Rather, it's those great workouts stacked over time. That's what builds a great body. That's what gives you the physique that you desire. And the same thing applies to us as singers, even though maybe we can do that exercise great that one time. What's going to help you build the voice that you want is you have to be able to do this again and again and again, and better, in fact, and do it better. A lot of the singers that I know who are great, they weren't just doing this for the past month. They weren't doing it for the past year. They've been doing it for years, right? If not decades. And I think for us as singers, we fall into this trap of wanting to get instant gratification. But the thing I would challenge you all on is have a longer term view. Now, of course, this doesn't mean being complacent, right? On the daily, you should be practicing, you should be working on your voice, you should be chasing those little moments where you're getting better every single day, 1% better every single day. But just know that if you do this over years, over decades, that's where the true difference is between a great singer and someone who's okay, right? That is the difference. So I want to challenge you, shift your perspective. Where do you see your voice in 3 to 5 to 10 years? And dream big. And what I want you to do is go back and backtrack. What actions do I need to take to get there? What do I need to do with my practices to get there? Who do I need to meet? Who do I need to work with to get me to this goal? Now, as I promised at the beginning, here is one of the biggest actions you can take to sounding good. And the tip I've got for you here is there's more to sounding good than just vocal exercises and vocal technique. Whilst technique is important, it helps you free up your voice, it helps your voice become better. It's not everything. And we all know this intuitively. When we go back and we listen to some of our favorite performances, the thing that often captivates us is not necessarily, how great their technique was, which of course it's going to be a part of the factor, but it's more how did they make us feel? What was their emotional delivery? How did they connect to the song? That's going to be the more important thing. Now, I find that great singers are ones who can get the emotional delivery and also the technical parts well at the same time. But let's talk purely about what that emotional delivery is. One way you can think about it is this idea of vocal colors. And I've shared this in some of the past episodes as well. As singers, we need to think of ourselves as painters. Painters have colors, red, blue, orange, all these different colors. And it's the deliberate choice of certain colors that allows us to create a better art. For us as singers, we have access to so many different vocal colors. Where do I want to sing? Soft, strong, breathy, vibrato, add agility, hold out that note, play around with rhythm. There's so many things we can do as singers to create a colorful or emotional performance. And the key here, especially I find that with great singers, is they know exactly what color to choose at the right point in time. And so this is going to be an equally important skill to develop on top of building the technical part of singing, making sure that your singing feels easy, you can hit all the notes. On top of that, we want to build this ability to choose the right sound or right color at any point in time. And so the question becomes, how do we actually do this? Let me share a little idea with you here. So I've jumped into a song that I have been working on, an original song of mine, and I'm going to play a little bit of the song and share some of the work that I did behind the scenes, because there's a little idea here that you need to incorporate into your singing, especially if you want to sound good. So let's have a listen to it real quick first, and we'll hear it with everything. Just keep in mind, it's not fully mixed yet, it's not fully done, so it might be a bit off at places, but check it out.
Even when you're alone, just count on me. Oh.
So this is a snippet of a song. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo just the lead vocals.
Even when you're alone, just count on me. Oh.
Now, the interesting part is what I've done here. This melody, this way I've interpreted my own song. I'm going to click on this. Look at all of this. What is this? This is my takes, which means I've done, 20 takes of the same line again and again. And actually, I did it more than this. I actually deleted some of the old ones. And then the reason why I do it again and again and again, I was experimenting with finding the right vocal color, choosing the right vowels, choosing the right intensity. And to be honest, it's still not there yet. I feel like there's some more things I can tweak. But I want to show you This is one of the most important things we need to be doing as singers. You literally go through a line of a song and you do a lot of different takes, but you want to be experimenting as a painter. What colors do I need to be using here? And you'll find that there's going to be certain colors that will fit right into the pocket, which means maybe if I sang at a certain volume, your voice will fit right into the music. Or maybe if I chose a certain vowel, it will fit right into the music. The faster you can get at finding that combination of colors, the better you will sound. So I want to encourage you, go and try do some vocal takes. Now, you don't have to use a fancy software like this. Even just singing and recording yourself is more than enough, but you need to be asking yourself, what colors should I be using here? That is a wrap, team. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, all I ask is please share this with a friend or family. This will just help our community grow even more. And I wanted to leave you once again with some motivation to help you keep going. And this time, I'm going to borrow a quote from Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said this: "The most important decision we can make is whether we believe that we live in a friendly or a hostile universe, a friendly or hostile universe." The reality is we get dealt with a set of cards. Now, some of us have been dealt a pretty nice set of cards. Maybe some of us have got the chops. Some of us can sing great. Some of us can sound natural when we're singing. But maybe some of us don't have that luxury. We didn't get given that. The lesson that's going to be so important for us here is you get to decide what that means. Maybe you don't have a great set of cards. Maybe you can't sing. But does that mean you can't get better? Are you consciously choosing to believe that, hey, I just can't sing, right? Or are you choosing that the universe is friendly? This is purely just a test. This is purely just a way to see how much you want to get better at singing. And I see this all the time, especially with some of my newer students. They were dealt with a voice that wasn't that good, but they chose to believe that they could get better. And I want to encourage you, what have you decided? What does that mean you've given to the fact that you were dealt a terrible set of cards? And if you've chosen to believe that you can get better, I'd really love to work with you. I'd really love to work on your voice and help you get to the place that you want to do. I've helped plenty of students all around the world do so. And so if this is something you're interested in, check out the links in the description on how to work with me privately, or maybe even check out some of my step-by-step programs. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Ivan. I'm your voice teacher, and I'll see you next Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're joining me from. Take care.